Hi. So, have you ever had your reading all the instructions, watching all the instructions and all the guidelines on how to have your baby safely positioned, and it always says make sure their face is clear so you can see their face, and their head should be lying on your chest and turned to the side with their face clear. So that's great, and you understand that. But do you have one of those babies that wants to just face plant right in the middle of your chest and does not want to turn to the side? Like, we're not advocating forcibly turning your baby's head to the side, right? Against their will. That's not a safe way to treat a baby. So if that has happened to you, that is what this video is about. This is going to be short. By the way, my family and I went to a pirate and Viking festival today where we had a lot of fun. So I'm kind of done up for that. See, I got braids and my long Viking dress. Just in case you're wondering why I look a little different today. It also means I'm kind of worn out. I've been out in the sun having a great time. So we're going to make this a short one. All right, and this is to answer Vanna. I sent out an email. If you're not on my newsletter list, you should get my newsletters. And when I recently sent one out asking, what's the thing you need help with today, I got a lot of different answers. One of them from Vanna was about this. Both her baby wanting to sink forward, which is unsafe, and her baby wanting to be face first on her chest. So here's one, is that dangerous? And two, what can you do about it if it is? Okay. So I started without baby wrapped up because I want to talk to you about the actual baby positioning, which you can't see as well when there's a wrap over baby. So I want you to know what you're aiming for, what position you want your baby to be in to be safe. So, we get up in this squat here with the knees up, sort of straddling you. If it's a younger baby, they're going to straddle a little tighter and their knees are going to be sort of up in between the two of you. And as they get older, they will widen that straddle, more like that. And when that happens, that should sort of help to tuck this baby's pelvis up towards you. So observe, if baby's legs are straight down, their pelvis is not tucked, but if you tuck that pelvis up, it brings the knees up and you get that squat positioning. Well, the reason why that is relevant to baby's face tucking forward is because tucking the pelvis up is going to round this baby's spine very nicely, and that roundness will bring baby right towards your chest, right against your chest. This curve will be in the right place. Now, let me try to show you. If I have space between me and my baby when I do that, that's not what we want. So let me see if you can see on here. Baby's sort of curved, but there's space in there in between my baby and me. That is not the safe positioning you want. That means baby can curl forward, her chin can sink down, and you don't want room for that to happen. You want baby's chin up off of baby's chest, because if their chin is down towards their own chest, then their airway is getting pinched. Here's their airway, and it's folding like a kink in a McDonald's straw. You can't get much liquid through that straw when it's kinked, and you can't get much air through it. So we want baby's airway totally open, getting plenty of air. So we never want baby's chin tucked towards her own chest. Following, tracking, making sense? Let me know. All right, so even though we have this round curve of the spine that brings baby's head against us, we need to also make sure that baby, there's no gap between us, and baby is right up against you. And that way, her chin is not going to sink down and sink forward. Okay, this does not address the face planting part yet, but we're getting there. So before I put the wrap on, I just want you to know that you want baby right against you. So you want that pelvis tuck, and you want that spine rounded, but you also want to be right up against your baby. And when you tighten the wrap, it should tighten baby right against you so that there is no room in there. And that is one reason why it's important to get all the slack out of the wrap when you're tightening, so that baby cannot end up having room to sort of sink down in between the two of you. If you are real flat chest to chest, there is nowhere to sink down to. Okay, now if you have bigger breasts, by the way, it works just the same way. Your baby's going to be curled around your breasts, and obviously your breasts are going to take up whatever space your breasts take up, and your baby's going to be right against them, but you want your baby's face up here. You've got this big old necklace, but on this flat part of your chest above your breasts, okay? So that's what you're aiming for, but it's totally fine for you to be busty. It's still a fantastic place for your baby. It's the best place for your baby. So you just curl your baby right around your breasts, face flat on the flat of your chest. Okay, let's get wrapped up, and then I'll show you what you can do about that face planting. And then we're going to call it a day. You go and practice this, have fun with it, and let me know how it goes. And we'll catch up again. Probably tomorrow I'll be back with something else for you. If you guys don't already follow me, if anyone watching this is not already following me, you should follow me. I got lots of stuff for you all the time. Okay. So this is like as if I'm doing front wrap cross carry, but what carry I'm doing doesn't really matter for these points I'm making. So whatever carry you're doing, this still applies. All right, so we'll slide baby in. Get baby's shoulders in. You can have arms out also if your baby doesn't need the head support and is ready for arms out. I'm just sort of getting baby into the carry so that we can talk about these points a little bit more while baby is wrapped up. So this is not really a wrapping technique thing. We're really talking about positioning technique. But at this stage of front wrap cross carry, or whatever carry you are doing, I'm tightening, and it's tightening the band across baby. And this band needs to be holding baby against you with no gap. You can't stick your hand in between you. Or if you have a wrap carry that's open on the sides, you can't stick your hand through there because your baby is right against you. And if your baby has curled up, like in an unsafe way with chin down, and you're tightening against that, it may seem like it's tight. And what you can do is you can put a hand on your baby's back and press her against you gently. And you can see if she's actually tight against you. See, when I let go, it looks tight, but if I press, you can see all this slack that's not holding her as tight as my hand is right now. So you want to pull all that slack out and do the press test until you can tell that she is upright. Her chin is not curling down. The other thing you need to do there to check is use your 2 fingers. So 2 adult fingers should fit between baby's chin and baby's own chest. So we're going to stick them right in there and make sure her chin is up off her chest. Okay, but it can still sink down onto her chest if you don't get that wrap tight holding her against you. I do want a cautionary point here. We're not trying to make baby's back flat or concave, and we're not trying to put a lot of pressure on baby's back. So you don't want a flat or concave back, and you don't want pressure on the back. Baby's spines are rounded, so it should stay round here and then sort of come up as their head is up. So it doesn't keep rounding forward because that would be chin forward unsafely. So it rounds and then it sort of comes up at the neck and head there. So some people describe that as a J position because it's like a capital letter J, right? From knee up along spine and then straight up. Okay, so you do want that outward round there. That's not something we're trying to get rid of. What we're trying to do is just make sure there's no room in between your 2 chests. Tighten that up, and I've been just tightening this one side, but to do that you really have to tighten both sides, or tighten one side and then secure it and tighten the other side. Because if I tighten just one side, the slack can all be in the other side. So it doesn't do anything to tighten just one. And then you check it, and your baby's back should still be rounded, like this nice rounded curve here. But their chin should naturally be held up more by that positioning. And there shouldn't be room for it to sink down because your body is right in the way of them being able to go forward. Like she can't put her head down because the flat part of my chest there is in the way. Okay, so that's one thing to talk about. The next thing, as I said, have her face up on the flat part of your chest above your breasts. And this is another reason for that. I should have taken this necklace off, but you get the idea. Right now she's right on my necklace, but that's the flat part of my chest. So, one, she can't put her head down, and what she is resting her head on is not fleshy. That's what I'm getting at. It's not your breasts, so it's not something that she can suffocate on or block up her nose on. Okay, so the next thing is, say she just wants to be face first on your chest. Well, we always tell people, most likely baby's going to lay one cheek on you and face one direction or the other. And that is most likely, but some babies, for whatever reason, are really determined to just go face first. And you can't force them to turn their head, or even if you do gently turn it, they might turn it back, right? So you only have so much control. And this is one of the early lessons that applies to all of parenting. We can't control other human beings, and it's very frustrating to be responsible for their well-being and their survival and feel that we're responsible for their happiness, when we can't control them. We can't make them eat the things that'll make them strong and healthy. We can't force them not to eat the things that are dangerous. We got to keep an eagle eye out for little Legos so they don't swallow them, right? We can't control them. We can just do our best to facilitate their way in this world, keep them safe and healthy, and teach them good habits. So here's lesson number 1. Like, hey, baby, it would be really good if you could face that way so that I can see your nose and mouth are clear and are not caught in the fabric, and that the air can get into your nostrils and mouth, but we can't make them do it. So if they insist on being face first into your chest, here's what you need to know. Our noses are made so that we can breathe if we're face against something, right? If I put my hand up against my nose, I can still breathe. I'm pressing on my nose. I can still breathe. You can try this. Try this at home. This is one of those things you can and are encouraged to try at home. You could walk up against a wall and put your face against the wall, and there's no good way to move your face against that flat wall that's going to block both your nostrils. We are built so that we can breathe when we're up against something. Babies' noses are even more so built that way. They turn up, right? They got these turned up noses. That's so they can breathe when they're breastfeeding. That is how that was designed to work, because nature didn't know about bottles. Nature only knew about breasts. Wanted baby to be able to both breathe and drink milk at the same time. Their noses are made for that. So you're always monitoring the situation. You're always putting your baby in the good positioning and paying attention that their face is clear. But if they're going to insist on being face against you, just make sure they're on the flat part of your chest, not the fleshy part of your chest. And you can even see that baby's nose and mouth are not blocked there. And then the other thing you can do is, I haven't finished this carry, but if I had a front wrap cross carry that was, spread over baby like this, pretend it's tied in the back, to make sure there's plenty of air getting there. I know baby's nostrils aren't flattened or closed against my chest, but I also want to make sure there's plenty of airflow. So I could, on either side, so let's take this top one, I could, instead of having that spread like that, have it bunched like that so that I can see there's plenty of air there. I can also see my baby's face a lot better, at least when I look in the mirror, with this down and not sort of blocking my view. So this is not covering baby's nose, but as far as monitoring the situation and letting there be more opening for airflow, you can bunch that up or give it that twist before you spread it. So when I twisted it so the top rail came over top and then down to the bottom, it kind of squeezes this cross to a small point right here, which means plenty of airflow towards baby's face, and my vision can see baby's face from the side through that. So that's helpful versus this side, because baby right now is facing directly forward. So you can do this on either side, or you can do it on both sides. But that is one thing you can do to help you monitor the situation is still safe. And you do need to be able to see that your baby's not bending forward with their chin down. So this can help you to do that, and it also makes it so that there's more airflow around baby's face. So then that is going to be very helpful. But they can be face towards you, and they will be all right. And then if they fall asleep, you can gently turn them. How I do it is I will lean forward and catch their heads with my hand as it falls off my chest, and then just gently guide it as I lean back again, and then I'll have a cheek against me. And then you can see them much more clearly from up above. You can pull this over the back of their head if you want for support. Whenever you're putting anything over the back of baby's head, just make sure it's not pushing baby's head again forward. That's the main thing. Chin needs to stay up and not going down towards their own chest. All right, so when they sleep, you might be able to do that repositioning by just leaning forward. And then so now, move this, so now you're holding their head and it's off your chest. And as you stand back up, you can just sort of gently guide it, very gently, so that they are facing one direction or the other. You probably don't even need to pull this over the head, by the way. Your crossing behind baby's neck should support them fine, but you do have that option. That's what I wanted to talk about. Okay, so that little press test to make sure that there's no space in between you and your baby, so that you know they can't curl forward and slouch into an unsafe position. And if they insist on face planting in your chest, that is how you can let them do that and still be safe and still know that your baby is safe. So I hope that's helpful. Let me know. I don't really know what % of people are going to run into that problem with the face plant.